Good evening, you're now with me, Lorenzo Isaac, for TVS Nightline. Here are the headlines for tonight. Premier Sarawak says the Unified Examination Certificate will open the door for Sarawakians to pursue international higher education. The Sarawak State Legislative Assembly today passed the Sarawak Ports Authority Bill. It also passed the Protection of Public Health Amendment Bill 2024. Premier Sarawak Dato' Patinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg expressed confidence in the positive impact of recognising the Unified Examination Certificate UEC for students in Sarawak. He views the UEC as a gateway that opens the door for Sarawakian students to pursue higher education at international universities. He also believes that obtaining the UEC will also enable students to improve their proficiency in a global lingua franca, further preparing them for success in an increasingly interconnected world.
Pula yang bertanya kenapa Sarawak mengiktiraf UEC, Sekolah Aliran Cina. Sebabnya ialah banyak juga anak kita yang bersekolah di Cunggur. Dan juga kerajaan Sarawak membantu sekolah Cunggur. Dan anak bumi putra belajar Mandarin. Apabila anak bumi putra faham dengan bahasa Mandarin, maka bahasa adalah lingua franca untuk kita berkomunikasi, maka kesepahaman sudah ada di antara bumi putra yang boleh berucap, bercakap, memahami bahasa Mandarin dengan bukan bumi putra.
He said this in his speech when officiating the National Conference of the Professional Association SI Partners Plus earlier today. Furthermore, Abang Johari pointed out that the state government is committed to empowering the education sector by establishing 5 international schools in which all expenses are covered through the Sarawak Foundation.
Kita membangun 5 sekolah antarabangsa dari dana kita sendiri, international school. Sebab selain pada sekolah aliran nasional, kita juga berkendakkan mereka fasih dalam bahasa-bahasa lain. Jadi sekolah antarabangsa Sarawak 5 buah yang kita bangunkan. Secondary menggunakan silabus Cambridge. Dan anak kita yang pintar-pintar dari luar bandar maupun dalam bandar, anak nelayan, anak petani yang semuanya A yang boleh kita letakkan di sekolah antarabangsa, kita berikan tempat mereka. Supaya one day, setidaknya pandai, yuran Sarawak tanggung, yayasan Sarawak tanggung.
Sarawak remained the only region in the country that recognized the UEC provided by Chinese schools, and it stresses the importance of mastering both English and Chinese languages. Abang Johari reiterated that Sarawak has no issue with language as a medium for acquiring knowledge and talent development.
The Sarawak State Legislative Assembly today passed the Sarawak Ports Authority Bill, which will place 5 ports in Sarawak under one centralised port authority. The bill, tabled by Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Douglas Ugahmbas, was passed unanimously after the third reading.
It was debated by 20 members of the August House who gave their full support, including the opposition bloc led by Padungan Assemblyman Chong Chin Chen and Pending Assemblywoman Violet Yong Wee Wee. Uga, who is also Minister of Infrastructure and Port Development Sarawak, in his winding-up speech expressed gratitude for all assemblymen who debated the bill, while simultaneously putting forward suggestions for the authorities' implementation. Previously, Uga said the bill will expand the functions of the Sarawak Port Authority, including planning and coordinating the development, expansion and improvement of ports in Sarawak.
To promote and facilitate the development of business of port and its hinterland, connectivity with other port and transportation hub outside Sarawak. 3, to license all port operator and port undertaking. 4, to promote efficiency and reliability of services and facilities in accordance with the recognized international standard and best practice. 5, to act as authority for any free trade zone established under and subject to Section 3.2 of the Free Zone Act 1990. And 6, to adopt low carbon solution in the management and operation of the port undertaking.
Uga said the authority's powers have been expanded in accordance with the provisions outlined in Schedule 2 of the bill, allowing it to engage in activities that align with and suitably fulfill its functions under the applicable laws. With the enactment of the bill, the Port Authority Ordinance 1961 will be repealed. However, legislation made under the repealed ordinance shall continue in force until revoked or replaced by new subsidiary legislation under the new law.
The Sarawak State Legislative Assembly passed the Protection of Public Health Amendment Bill 2024 following unanimous backing from its members. The proposal, brought forward by Sarawak's Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Dr. Sim Kui Hian, was debated by 10 Assembly members. Dr. Sim Kui Hian, who also serves as the Minister of Public Health, Local Government and Housing Sarawak, highlighted that the ordinance has remained unchanged since 1999.
Ordinance has never been amended since it was passed by Dewan Undangan Negeri on the 6th December 1999 and came to force on the 1st November 2000. Therefore, it is considered timely for the ordinance to be amended in order to update and strengthen the provisions in the ordinance to meet the changes and expectations of the present situations. The proposed bill seeks to amend and update certain provisions in the ordinance to make it at par and in line with the current practices. It is also aimed to strengthen certain provisions relating to penalties and enforcements on public health matters.
Meanwhile, OPAR Assemblyman Billy Sujang voiced his endorsement of the amendment bill, asserting its alignment with the abrupt surge in rabies cases observed in Sarawak. He emphasized that the amendment aims to guarantee the cleanliness and safety of food establishments by prohibiting pets from accessing these premises.
A special task force will outline proposals to expedite the development and upgrading of dilapidated healthcare infrastructures and facilities in Sarawak. The Sarawak Legislative Assembly was told today that the special task force would draw up the terms of reference for the task. State Deputy Minister for Public Health, Housing and Local Government, Michael Tiang Ming Tee, said under the initiative, the federal government will reimburse the Sarawak government for the entire cost at a later stage.
He explained that this initiative is under the concept of deferred payment or other business model as may be agreed by both parties.
Under this initiative, the federal government will reimburse the Sarawak government for the entire cost at a later stage under the concept of deferred payment or other business model as may be agreed by both parties.
He said this during a Q&A session in reply to Bawang Asan Assemblyman Dr. Sri Wong Soon Koh earlier today. According to him, the task force would be jointly headed by the Chief Secretary to the government and the State Secretary.
A special task force jointly headed by the Chief Secretary to the Government of Malaysia and the Sarawak State Secretary will be formed to look into the term or reference of this forward-looking mechanism and come up with the details on its implementation.
A total of 206 dilapidated public clinics and health facilities in Sarawak are in desperate need of repair. Michael revealed that out of the total, 51 of the health facilities are located in urban areas. As such, he said the Federal Health Ministry approved 39 projects worth 8.497 million ringgit last year to enhance Sarawak's deteriorated clinics and healthcare facilities requiring infrastructure repair, treated water, rewiring and repainting.
The Sarawak Ports Authority 2024 bill is a key element that will position Sarawak as one of the main players for energy globally. Batu Kitang Assemblyman Datuk Loh K. Chiang said the bill will facilitate enhanced management and oversight of all port operations.
This bill will indeed reform the governance structure and regulatory framework of port operations in Sarawak, including harmonizing port dues, vessel dues, port charges and fees, and to make provisions for the privatization of port management and operation and undertakings in Sarawak, which will shape our region's economic landscape.
He spoke during the 19th State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting in support of the Sarawak Ports Authority Bill 2024, tabled by Deputy Premier Dr. Ahmad Douglas Uga Ambas earlier today. At the same time, Loh said that Sarawak is strategically located between the east and west shipping routes, making it an important trading hub that offers great economic benefit for the state. He said Bintulu Port, for example, has one of the largest gas reserves in the world.
Thus, a robust port system is essential for facilitating domestic and international trade. Through strategic investments in port facilities, we aim to solidify Sarawak's position as a leading player in the energy market.
In March, Sarawak successfully signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the federal government to place Bintulu Port directly under its jurisdiction.
The Sarawak State Legislative Assembly today also approved the Sarawak Forest Corporation Amendment Bill 2024, tabled by Sarawak's Deputy Premier cum Second Minister of Urban Development and Natural Resources, Dato' Amar Awang Tengah Hassan, with unanimous support and 7 members debating.
Supaya penghargaan kuasa, skop kerja itu jelas. Di antara SFC dan Forest Department. Dan mereka juga mempamerkan kepahaman kenapa Deputy Chairman kita dalam undang-undang ini mengusulkan supaya Deputy Minister in charge of the natural resources to be appointed as Deputy Chairman.
Affin Group earlier today paid a courtesy call to TV Sarawak's headquarters, the first official media visit in Sarawak made by the delegation. The delegation was led by its president, who is also the group's chief executive officer CEO, Dato' Wan Razli Abdullah. Also present was managing director of its president office, Isman Arifin, strategic communications head, Siti Farah Diba Abdul Ghani, corporate Communications and Public Relations Head Ufat Kashia Baharudin, as well as Manager of Corporate Communications and Public Relations Sharifah Nur Shahira. The delegation was welcomed by Chairman of Sarawak Media Group SMG Dato' Nur Hayati Ismail, alongside SMG Board of Directors Dato' Dr. Janeri Amir, Dato' Ahmad Shafi'i, TVS CEO Kushairi Abang, as well as a Chief Media Officer Sardon Zainal. Earlier in the afternoon, Affin Group's delegation and Tvs paid a courtesy call to the Sarawak Premier's wife, Puan Sri Dato' Amar Jumaani Tun Tuanku Bujang, who is also the chairman of the Association of Wives of Ministers and Assistant Ministers of Sarawak Sabati, to extend an invitation to officiate the Ziarah Raya ceremony between Affin Group and Tvs. Tonight, the honourable leaders of Sarawak attended the Sarindu ID Fitri ceremony hosted by Amanah Khairat, Yayasan Budaya Melayu Sarawak AKYBMS. Those in attendance, including Governor Tun Pehin Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaafar, Premier Dato' Padinggi Dan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, and Deputy Premier Dato' Amar Awang Teng Ali Hassan were welcomed with a traditional Malay ceremony showcasing the rich culture of the Malay race. Later in his speech, Abang Johari reminded Malays to command technological knowledge as the way forward in this day and age. And with that, our reporter Yusuf Shukri has more details on the matter. Over to you, Yusuf.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Now, as you've mentioned, the Honourable Premier, Dato' Padinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg, he wants the Malays to not be complacent with what they, or rather what we have now. Instead, the pursuit of knowledge should remain constant due to the fact how fast things are moving in the current era. The lack of knowledge, he said, will lead to a missed opportune moment for the community at large and the Malays in particular to generate income from the vast and diverse opportunity that is available because of the existence of technology. And it is with technological insights, Abang Johari admitted, that has enabled Sarawak to become the front runner of many things related to green energy, and not just in the region but globally. This, of course, includes the production of hydrogen energy, the carbon capture industry, the generation of energy from kinetic energy, and so much more. Therefore, he hopes the Malays will not stop their effort in the pursuit of technological knowledge, and this applies to both young and old, be it by reading or by research or any other methods. For the full news, so make sure you stay tuned to tvsarawak.my. I'm Yusuf Shukri with Awang Azmil reporting for TVS Kuching. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusuf. Coming up right after the break, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim says no Israel-based company permitted in Malaysia. And in world news, Israel sent tanks into Rafah and seizes key crossing. Right here on Tvs Nightline, stay tuned. Welcome back. Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim declared that no companies based in Israel will be permitted to enter or conduct operations in Malaysia. The country, under the Madani government, remains steadfast in its policy of barring any businesses affiliated with the Zionist regime from engaging in activities within its borders.
He said this when met by the media after launching the National Anti-Corruption Strategies NACS 2024 to 2028 earlier today. Anwar also weighed in on Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad's suggestion for the government to promptly eject two companies, Lockheed Martin and BAE Systems, accused of supplying weapons to the Israeli military. These companies are currently participating in the Defence Services Asia Exhibition DSA and the National Security Exhibition NatSec Asia 2024 in the capital. Previously, the former Prime Minister in a social media post urged the Ministry of Defence to instruct the two arms supply companies to leave Malaysia immediately. He asserted that these companies are the primary suppliers of weapons to the Zionist regime, which has been conducting attacks and bombings on the Palestinian people since October 7 last year. Dr. Mahathir contended that allowing the presence of such companies undermines all of the country's efforts against the brutality of the Zionist regime, implying complicity in the shedding of Palestinian blood, including that of babies and children.
Malaysia foresees significant potential for deeper collaboration with China, notably in infrastructure, the digital economy, green development, new energy vehicles, and the rare earth industry. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof noted that Malaysia's Mandani initiative, launched in January 2023, aligns with the values and principles of the Community Shared Future CSF advocated by Chinese President Xi Jinping since 2013.
Fadilah's speech was presented by Deputy Energy Transition and Water Transformation Minister Akmal Nasrullah Mohammad Nasir. The event was organised by the KSI Strategic Institute for Asia Pacific in collaboration with the Malaysia-China Business Council and China Daily, aiming to mark the 50th anniversary of diplomatic ties and foster deeper economic collaboration between Malaysia and China. Meanwhile, Fadilah also emphasized Malaysia's leadership in promoting renewable energy through its partnership with China, with both nations heavily investing in clean technologies such as solar, wind, and hydroelectric power. He said the Malaysia-China collaboration has expanded beyond technology, with both countries actively participating in knowledge-sharing initiatives to harness the immense potential of green energy. China has remained Malaysia's largest trading partner for the past 15 years, with total trade between the two countries reaching 450.84 billion ringgit in 2023, with imports from China amounting to 258.63 billion ringgit. These imports predominantly consist of electrical and electronics products, machinery, and chemicals, underscoring the robust economic relationship between the two nations.
Malaysia's engineering sector is facing a critical shortage of qualified professionals. According to the president of the Malaysian Association of Engineers, Datuk Feroz Hanif Muhammad Ahmad, this is due to several factors, including the low salary of engineers as well as the lack of attraction of the profession.
Commenting further, other factors, he said, include lack of pursuit of mathematics and science education among younger generations. Hence, he highlighted the need for policymakers to bring this issue into serious discussion for better improvement. Taking into example, neighbouring countries such as Singapore, where engineers earn a 3,000 Singapore dollars pay, causing local engineers to migrate there to benefit a higher pay. Meanwhile, he suggested a report for concerns currently being done by the Board of Engineers Malaysia BEM to be brought to the attention in Parliament.
The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission (MACC) has revealed that the nation incurred losses totaling 277 billion ringgit as a result of corruption over the past 5 years. Its Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Abaki said the losses were calculated based on the cumulative estimate of the gross domestic product (GDP) over the 5-period year from 2018 until last year.
At the launch of the National Anti-Corruption Strategy NACS 2024 to 2028 at the Putrajaya International Convention Centre PICC earlier today, Azam said the substantial amount could have been used for the people, such as hospital and school repairs. However, these funds have been depleted due to corrupt practices. Azam said to ensure that the anti-corruption strategy has a significant impact, the drafting of the NACS is carried out using various approaches and methodologies to identify areas in the country that are vulnerable to corruption risks. He said the NACS outlines a crucial strategy that focuses on enhancing integrity, transparency and accountability across various sectors in Malaysia, including politics, public administration, government procurement, law enforcement, legal and judicial institutions, the private sector, and the general public. Azam said he hoped that the NACS will serve as a catalyst to strengthen good governance in the country, aiming to prevent and combat corruption. He added that this is to ensure that Malaysia's development agenda towards an integrated and corruption-free nation can be realized.
Israel sent tanks into Rafah in southern Gaza, seizing control of the border crossing with Egypt on Tuesday, an operation the United Nations said denied it access to the key humanitarian passage. The military's thrust into the eastern sector of the city packed with displaced civilians came a day after Israel warned Palestinians in the area to evacuate ahead of a long-threatened ground operation.
Army footage showed tanks flying the Israeli flag, taking operational control of the Palestinian side of the border crossing in a deployment that had a very limited scope against very specific targets. UN Humanitarian Office spokesman Jens Lark said Israel had denied it access to both Rafah and Kerem Shalom, the other main Gaza aid crossing on the border with Israel, with only 1 day of fuel available inside the besieged territory. He warned that unless fuel was allowed in, it would be a very effective way of putting the humanitarian operation in its grave. Meanwhile, overnight, heavy bombardments rocked Rafah.
كنا نمين في الدار أنا وأمي وأخواتي فجأة اللي سمعنا صوت خبط سمعنا صوت خبط بدون أي سابق إنذار والغبرة كلها خشت علينا أنا وأمي وأخواتي نقول إنه رفح إنه هي آمنة وهي اللي بصير.
The Kuwaiti hospital said 23 people were killed, and the Najjar hospital said another 4 people were killed. Later, Hamas's armed wing said fired rockets at Israeli troops at Kerem Shalom 2 days after 4 Israeli soldiers were killed in an attack it also claimed. The Israeli army alleged the latest attack was launched from Rafah. According to the Hamas-run territory's health ministry, Israel's genocide has killed at least 34,789 people in Gaza, mostly women and children.
2 suspected rebels were killed in Indian-administered Kashmir during a firefight with soldiers at a time when campaigning for national elections is underway in the disputed territory. Scores of soldiers besieged a residential area in southern Kulgam district, some 70 kilometers from Kashmir's biggest city, Srinagar, on Monday, after armed militants were suspected to be present inside a house.
Police said in a statement on social media platform X, the 2 bodies of the suspected rebels were recovered so far from the site. Images from the area showed smoke billowing from a house after it caught fire during the skirmish. Kashmir has been divided between India and Pakistan since their independence in 1947, with both claiming the Himalayan territory in full. Rebel groups opposed to Indian rule have for decades waged an insurgency in Indian-controlled Kashmir, demanding either independence or merger with Pakistan. The conflict has left tens of thousands of civilians, soldiers and militants dead. Violence and anti-India protests have drastically reduced since 2019, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government cancelled the Muslim-majority region's limited autonomy. But clashes between security forces and rebel groups have increased since voting began last month in India's 6-week election.
Those were the updates on Tvs Nightline. I'm Lorenzo Isaac. Thank you for watching.